for a brand new episode of the Gimme the Hot Sauce podcast. We are excited about getting some players back. Unfortunately, we're also losing one in the process right now. The news of the day, Lonzo Ball is going to have arthroscopic knee surgery for a meniscus tear in his left knee. And hopefully, he's going to be okay, get back as soon as possible. Timmy Whispers is in the house. He's getting ready to leave for Dubai. What's going on with that? You becoming an oil sheik, or what's the deal with that?
Just doing some shopping.
What are you shopping for?
I don't know. That's why they call it. That's why they call it Dubai, right?
Oh my goodness!
What you buying? Oh, that was bad.
That was terrible.
You gonna buy a golf course out there? You know, Tiger Woods used to play in that tournament every year.
Yeah, I go out to that Palm Island and.
Are you gonna try to go? Are you gonna try to go out in that desert where all those deserted cars are? Those Ferraris.
I'm going.
Yeah, and just take one home, bring it back.
That's the plan.
Okay, bring me one back too.
Sure.
This guy's got unlimited wealth. He travels all over the world. It's crazy.
Listen, man.
Right.
Hey, when you roll like Timmy Whispers, man, he rolls at a different level. Mark,
you see him every week on YouTube. You're wondering what's going on inside that head, and it's just huge business deals. He's like this master.
Right.
Or porn. He's thinking porn.
That's usually what's going on.
Remember the Three Stooges when they used to, like, back in the day when you watched the Three Stooges, they'd do an X-ray of the Three Stooges' brain, and there'd be like a bird, like a little canary. Yeah. That's kind of like
Whispers.
Tim.
Yeah,
he's got like a
crayons and some loose change.
Yeah, he's got some crazy stuff going on up there. If we did X-ray.
Yeah, it's like that.
The old Rick Astley videos. You're never going to give you up.
Never going to give you up.
I can't stop that song.
Yes,
playing in my head.
It's in my head too.
I don't know what it
Every
is.
time I see Rick Astley,
Yeah,
I'm like, or
hands going.
Clay Aiken. Clay Aiken gets me too, man. Oh my goodness. This is our crowd. We got a crowd in the studio.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to thank our guy Dave from the United Center coming to help us out, run the audio board today. Pavel was detained on the way into the building. Pavel will be back next week.
DJ Pavel was held at the airport.
Your past will always catch up with you.
Hey, America. DJ Pavel didn't make it to work today. We don't know where he's at. All we know is some people in Men in Black outfits came and got him in the office.
Someone named Vlad.
They got our boy Pavel. Pavel, we love you, boy. Oh, we hope you get out of this from jam.
There weren't any rifles being shot or anything like that, were there? On the way out?
It sounded like this.
Oh, I've been shot.
So anyway, we're coming at you from the Sriracha Studios, the Hustle and Flow Studios, and we're excited about what's going on. But the Bulls thing has been getting crazy, Stacey. With guys, you get two guys back, and then you lose Zoe, and I know for Lonzo it's got to be really frustrating because he found his niche with this team. Billy Donovan was using him in the ideal role, letting him run the offense, play great defense on opposing point guards, and then shooting 42% from the three-point line. He was doing exactly what the Bulls needed. Now, it could be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks before he's back.
Huge blow. This team, honestly, Mark, they haven't been healthy all season long. Let's just be honest. They've had guys in and out of the lineup. But they found ways to win. They put guys in. It's developed. Guys like Io has been able to develop. Kobe White coming back from injury. He was one of those guys that came back from injury, starting to play up to his abilities. You got Patrick Williams got his cast off.
Right.
You don't know. He may be coming back sooner than what everybody thought. Because it pays to be young. The bones heal
20 years
quicker.
old. Yeah.
Yeah. The old people. they might have put you out to the pasture like in Yellowstone. Take them to the train station. but on the real though, every team is going through it.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant's out 4 to 6 weeks with a knee injury. You're only playing with Kyrie half the time. Miami right now is feasting. They got Bam back.
They got their guys back.
Jimmy Butler back. So they're getting healthy right now when everybody else is getting hurt. And they're kind of feasting on teams right now that are below 500, which they're supposed to do. And they've now, they're catching up to everybody.
What's really blown up is Tyler Hero. He had kind of a disappointing second season. Now he's come back averaging almost 20 points a game. Jimmy Butler's back from an ankle injury. Bam was out with, I believe, a hand injury, and they've got all their guys. That is a team that no one talks about. Everyone talks about Brooklyn and Milwaukee, Philadelphia at times, but this Miami team right now, tied with the Bulls for the best record in the Eastern Conference. Could Miami win the East?
Yeah, they could be. The East is wide open. It's all going to come down to, you got to remember, there's a lot of things that factor into this. The injury, we're starting to see the injury bug hit teams now. COVID protocol can still be in play at the end of the season. There could be some teams that get hot. Philadelphia can make a move, get rid of Ben Simmons. All of a sudden, they could be back in. Atlanta can get some of their guys back. So a lot of things can happen because the East is so competitive this year. I think the key for the Bulls is just to, stay afloat. Keep doing what you're doing. Last night was a big, big win for them after dropping 4 straight. You get Alex Caruso back. You get some other pieces back, and having Caruso back, I'm telling you, man, that's like adding 3 players. I mean, seriously, it's like adding 3 different players, a defensive player, an offensive player, a scrappy player, a rotational player. And it was great seeing him back. I mean, I think he was plus 16, plus 18 points at one point when he was out there. So it tells you how important he is to this team and how important defensively he is.
And speaking of Alex Caruso, he is our special guest on this episode of Gimme the Hot Sauce. So he's going to be coming up in our next segment, joining us from his hotel room in Milwaukee as we're recording on Thursday night. The Bulls getting ready to play the Milwaukee Bucks at Fiserv Forum. That's going to be a nationally televised game, but you're also calling that game, right, Stacey?
Yes, I am, and I'm not.
So we know where to get the broadcast.
Yes, you definitely got to get it NBC. You definitely got it because we always are competing against ESPN.
Right.
Sometimes they bump us off, and we
can't
do
the
game. But not this time. We're back. We're back. So we're going to be going head to head against the big boys, and it should be a great game. I would like for us to be at full health because we haven't played Milwaukee all year long, and this is the first time we're going to play them. And I would love to have been at full strength.
And they just got Drew Holiday back.
Yeah. So and we're not at full strength. We're not making any excuses, but it's going to be interesting to seeing how we match up with them because this is a team. Depending on where they fall, if the Bulls, the whole key is trying to stay number 1. Because then you avoid number 2 and number 3, which could be Miami, Brooklyn. It could be Brooklyn, Milwaukee.
Right.
But if you slide to that 3-4, it's 2-3-4 thing. Now you're going to have to play a tough team in the first round, and the second round you're going to meet someone before they get to the conference. So whoever finishes number 1 is going to kind of get a cakewalk to the Eastern Conference Finals because you'll avoid most of those teams.
Mm-hmm. Want to thank some of our great sponsors before we get too deep into our show here on Give Me the Hot Sauce, starting with our guy Howard Ankin. Chances are, if you live anywhere in Chicagoland, you've seen Howard on a bus, train, billboard, or TV commercial with a famous Chicago athlete. Howard is everywhere. So if you've been injured at work, in a car, truck, or rideshare accident, make sure to call Howard. He's a third-generation attorney from Chicago, and his number is an easy one to remember. That's 312-6-million. That's our guy, Howard Hankins. So if you have any needs for an attorney, call him at 312-6-million. Stacey, there were some great performances in the NBA last night. Joel Embiid had 50 points in 27 minutes.
Wow.
I mean, the guy is playing great basketball, and Daryl Morey went on Philadelphia radio today and kind of sent a signal out to the league that maybe we will be willing to trade Ben Simmons for less than we were asking for originally because Embiid's playing at such a high level, we don't want to give up our chance to maybe contend for a championship.
Well, he should have been thinking about that a long time ago because there were some good trade offers coming up that could have probably helped them and propelled them to be even better than they are now. I think he waited too long. I think now it's gotten to the point now where teams have the advantage when it comes to trading for him. You're going to have to settle for something because what's the alternative? He's just going to sit at home all year, and you're going to pay him all this money to sit at home, and your team could use that player or use some players in a trade. So it's obvious he doesn't want to be there. It's obvious that, they want him there because they keep thinking he's going to change his mind, that basketball is going to win out. It's not going to happen. And then when you trade him, it's not guaranteed, even though he's under contract, that he'll want to play for the team you trade him to. Whoever's trading for him is giving up assets, giving up draft picks, giving up, really good players and taking the chance that you get this kid and he says, I don't want to end up here. I want to go somewhere else. Now you've mortgaged your future. You put your franchise at risk now because you've given up so many assets. You could be, set back 10 years.
The MVP race is really interesting now. People were thinking it was Steph Curry and Kevin Durant were running neck and neck, but Steph got into a bit of a shooting slump. Now Kevin Durant's out 4 to 6 weeks because of a knee sprain. Now Giannis is back in the picture. You're hearing about Joel Embiid. Nikola Jokic, who had 49 points last night, carried them to a win over the Clippers, is being talked about again. Who do you like in that MVP race right now? John Morant, I should mention too, is taking Memphis to New York.
And you know what, and you know, DeMar's not getting enough credit either. His name should be in that conversation
absolutely,
too, because and it could really help his cause these next few games if the Bulls win these games and he played like he did last night.
Without Zach or Zoe.
Without Zach or Zoe. I mean, that's got to strengthen his chances. But, you know, the early favor was Steph Curry with the way he was playing, the way Golden State's playing. It's wide open now. You know, Giannis, it seems like now, you know, Milwaukee's healthy. You got to remember, you know, Milwaukee played a lot of basketball games last year, and the season went long. You had guys that went to the Olympics. You know, guys came back. They were tired. You know, fatigue set in. So Milwaukee got off to a very slow start.
Yeah, they're fourth in the East right now.
And now they're healthy. Now they're energized, re-energized. I don't think they ever worried about what position they were in the beginning, because I think their organization realizes that they had a long season, a championship season, and there was so much stuff that goes along with that, because we did that in Chicago. Like Phil would always tell us to come back and don't worry about being in 100% shape. Come back and be 60. We'll work our way up. And so we were never worried about losing games early. It was where we're going to be midway point. You know, 40 games into the season, where are we at then? That's what he was concerned with, and it seems like Milwaukee's doing the same thing.
Speaking of teams off to slow starts, the Lakers are a dumpster fire right now. They're a game under 500. They've lost 4 of their last 5. Frank Vogel made the move of benching Russell Westbrook late because he was getting lit up by Karis LeVert and wasn't giving a lot of effort on the defensive end. Could that be the beginning of the end for Frank Vogel when you bench a superstar?
I mean, it's tough to say. I mean, the guy's won 67% of his games there and won a championship a couple of seasons ago. I mean, it comes down to the players. You know, again, you know, coaches are hired to be fired. I'm not a big fan of that, because at the end of the day, the coach is not making baskets. He's not rebounding. Yes, he's making decisions on who to play, but then you question his decision-making when he benches guys who are not playing up to their capabilities. And so, you know, I love Russell Westbrook, and I just think they just don't know how to play him, because he's a guy that has the ball in his hands 100% of the time. He's ball-dominant guard, and you're playing with a ball-dominant forward in LeBron James. So something's got to give. They've got to find a way to have those two players coexist, because if you don't, Westbrook is not good playing off the ball.
Unless can't shoot. He's like the worst shooter in the league right now.
But you know what, though? You run plays for Westbrook, or get him in plays where he's on the move, where he's cutting to the basket. LeBron is a great passer. Instead of having, you know, Westbrook stand around and just kind of, you know, moving side to side, waiting for the pass to come, how about get him on a cut? How about putting in a screen roll with LeBron James and force teams to make decisions, as you see teams do now? You see, when we run a pick and roll with DeMar DeRozan and that we bring Kobe White to set a screen, or Alex Caruso to set a screen, we're trying to get a mismatch for DeMar DeRozan to take advantage of the mismatch. We did that last night with the 7-footers. You had Lowry marking on DeMar, ate him up. You had Mobley on him, ate him up. I mean, their big guys could not stay with a smaller guy. You've got to do those kind of things for Westbrook. You just can't say, well, LeBron's got the ball, go stay in the corner. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Both conferences are kind of wide open. Phoenix has the best record in the NBA right now, and they've kind of been going along because they've had most of their guys. They haven't a lot of guys miss time because of either COVID or injury. So right now they're number 1. Waiting for Klay Thompson to get back into peak form for the Golden State. He had a good game the other night. Now Draymond's out for a couple of weeks with the calf injury.
That hurts them, because they're not the same team without Draymond. He's Alex Caruso for them. He's a guy for defense. He makes their defense go. He rebounds the basketball, and he's really the guy that really runs their offense. They run their offense through him. Steph Curry gets so many open jump shots because of him. Klay Thompson gets so many. Poole gets so many jump shots because he's such a great passer. He's a guy that can get a triple-double any night. And with him not being in the lineup, we even saw it here. They beat us, but they weren't the same team without him.
And the Kyrie Irving saga rolls on. He plays well when he's on the court, but he's only playing in the road games. And now without Durant, that team could drop quite a few.
Well, you know what? I'm not a big fan of that, just playing half the games, because, you know, if he continues to do that, you know, that's going to put this team in the playoffs in a tough situation. If they ever find themselves, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, if they ever find themselves down 0-2 and not having home court advantage and go down 0-2 to a Milwaukee or to a Bulls team or to a whoever, that's going to really hurt them in their chances of winning a championship. And again, you know, I mean, it's his decision to do what he's doing. And now with Kevin Durant being out there, you can't count on him in home games. So what if you got these good teams coming into the Barclays Center playing, and you don't have your three best players? You only got one now. And James Harden is not James Harden that he was a couple of years ago. James Harden is still trying, in my opinion, to find himself, still trying to work himself into that James Harden that we saw.
I think privately, James Harden's probably a little irritated by the whole Kyrie saga and the fact that him and KD are buddies and they kind of run that roost over there. And James came in thinking, well, these guys will, fit into a team concept. We got great talent. We can win a championship. But I think he's kind of seeing that he's the odd man out there.
Well, I mean, chemistry is so important. We talked about this with the Bulls. Guys, have to be willing to make sacrifices to win. Talent is not. It's great to have talent, Mark. But a lot of times, how many teams have you seen in any sport that had more talent than everybody else and they lost? Dallas Cowboys, prime example. 11-5. They win their division. They play a team, San Francisco, who was just starting to get their wheels under them and playing a home game, and then you get beat at home. So the best team doesn't always win. It's the team that has great chemistry, a team that is going in the same direction as far as, defensively, offensively. They're in tune to one another, and they care about one another, not caring about stats.
One last thing before we bring Alex Caruso in. A lot of people always ask me, what are the Bulls going to do? They got to get another power forward, another big man in the rotation. But now, with this injury to Lonzo Ball, the trade deadline's coming up fast. It's February 10th, before the All-Star game. Do you think AK would be willing to trade Kobe White or Patrick Williams now to get another veteran big man in here?
You know what? And I've had this discussion too. Here's what you got to think if you're the Chicago Bulls. And I'm not speaking for AK. I'm not speaking for the front office. But you have to ask yourself this. When you went into this season, where was your realistic goal for this team with the new roster and all? Yeah. I think consistently everyone would have said this would have been somewhere between 5 and 8. The Bulls would have fit with this new roster, okay? So you've exceeded all expectations with being in first in the Eastern Conference this late in the season. So now you got to ask yourself, what's the window of opportunity? Is that window big enough for us to get in there and have a chance to get to the Eastern Conference Finals and then get to the NBA Finals and beyond? If that's the case, then you got to go for it. But if you feel like we could get there with this roster and not make the most minimal move and not give up our young player in Kobe White, because as you can see with Kobe White right now, Kobe White has been playing phenomenal basketball over the last month. Getting to the basket, getting downhill, getting his teammates involved, not just playing at one speed. He's mixing his speeds up. And normally a point guard, Mark, it takes about 3 years for them to finally get it and that thing clicks up. And I made the comment last night to Adam, when you come in as a rookie, all of us came in as rookies, everything's 100 miles an hour. It's just like a race car. Everything you see is in full speed. But as you get older, second, third year, things start to slow down. You start to understand things a little bit better. You start to see plays develop before they actually develop. And I said that last night with Kobe. You can tell the game is slowing down for him now. Now, he still does some turnovers here and there. He's a young player. But you can tell he's starting to develop that understanding of, I don't need to be going 110 miles an hour. I can use my size. I can use hesitation dribbles, and I can get my teammates involved and spot up and hit shots, because they got a lot of – this team is very unselfish. They'll pass the ball. All you got to do is get to an open spot, and he's one of the best shooters on the team. Yeah,
that's the only silver lining in the whole Lonzo Ball situation, is that Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu have been playing so well as a tandem that, you could start Caruso and Zach when he's ready to come back, and the news is good on Zach. He may be back by the middle of next week. And bring that young guard tandem of Ayo and Kobe, because it seems like they play really well off each other.
Well, you can tell. They've kind of molded as a unit with those two guys, and now you bring Caruso back, and that's a good luxury for Billy to have. I think the thing with Ayo has been so important is that he's been able to get consistent minutes. In the beginning of the season, he wasn't getting any minutes. He was getting 3 or 4 garbage time, and he never sulked. Never pouted, continued to work hard in practice. And then one day, probably about 6-7 games into the season, the Bulls were kind of lackadaisical on defense. Guys weren't, doing what they're supposed to do. And Billy just threw him in just as a change of pace. Like, let's just get him in there. He's got abundance of energy. We're gonna throw him in the game. Javonte Green, guys who are gonna play hard and compete. And that kind of turned both of those players around. They became rotational players after that. And you kind of wonder, like, okay, how's Io's role going to change when all these guys come back? But he has built up so much trust with the coaching staff.
He's in the rotation.
He's in there now. He's a fixture in the rotation. And Kobe is in the same way. Because if you watch Kobe, the biggest concern about Kobe was his defense and his ball handling. And over the last few weeks, he has improved in both areas. You know, he just looked phenomenal over the last month.
Yeah, that is the one good thing the Bulls have shown. They've got quality depth. Zach LaVine should be back at some point next week. Javonte Green isn't far away, and then you get Derrick Jones Jr. back, and all of a sudden, if down the road you add Lonzo Ball and Patrick Williams to that, this team is going to be really scary. Hey, before we take a break, when it comes to insurance for your auto, home, and business, make sure to contact the king of insurance. That's nationwide agent Jeff Vukovich, our good buddy. You can find him at jeffvuk.com. That's Jeff VUK.com. How the Golden Pipes doing tonight, Stace?
They're pretty good.
All right.
Pretty good. Nationwide is on your side.
That's our good buddy, Jeff Vukovich. Yeah, make sure you contact him for all your insurance needs, auto, home, and business. So Dave's on top of the audio board.
There was only one person booing. It was Timmy Whispers. Hater.
He turned off my mic, though, right?
Hater, yeah, he turned it off. Thank you, Dave. He's a hater.
Jeez.
Hater in the house.
Jeez, thanks, Dave.
All right, let's clear the decks. Time to bring in our special guest. Alex Caruso is next on Gimme the Hot Sauce. We are back on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Time to introduce our special guest, Alex Caruso, joining us from the mean streets of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Alex, I grew up there, and so it's interesting to see how the downtown has changed over the years. For you guys, though, now playing with the Bulls, it's just a short trip. Did you think that maybe go day of the game, or you like being there night before?
No, I think I like night before. I think you keep it consistent with, what our normal travel schedule is. But it really is just, it's a hop, skip, and a jump away, maybe an hour car ride and you're here.
Let's talk a little bit about your return. I know you were, we talked to you last night after the game and how you were itching to get back and you were, just couldn't wait to get back. Tell our listeners how difficult that was for you to sit and watch. And then what was the agreement going in with the coaching staff and the doctors about how many minutes you were going to play?
Yeah, extremely difficult to watch, especially just for me. The timetable of, my last month and a half hasn't been normal, right? Like I was out with a little bit of hamstring and then we had game postponed. Then the first, game and 5 minutes into the back-to-back on a return, hurt my foot, another 2.5 weeks out with that. So for me, it was really just piling up, and then finally COVID caught up to me and, looking at it, it was like I played like 2 games in a month and a half time. So for me, just from when I was a little kid, I've never taken that long of a break in the middle of winter to not play basketball. So, just being the competitor I am, I didn't have that outlet. So for me, watching the guys go through it and them battling without me was tough to watch, and even though I wasn't there with them, I told them, I think I talked to the press after the media after the game yesterday too, was like, even if I'm not with them on the team and playing, like I still feel the losses, right? Like I'm still part of this 4-game losing streak, regardless if I'm on the court or I'm at home. It almost makes it even worse being at home, right? Because you have no control over it at all.
Yep.
But glad to be back. Glad to get a win last night. And then, just moving forward, trying to be proactive with it. I think I only played 22, 23 minutes last night. We'll see how that goes. We don't have a super strict schedule with minute restrictions going forward, but we are going to be smart about it just because, this is kind of the reason that the foot held me back in the first place.
Well, it was welcome back to the NBA, and you played one of the teams with the taller front lines in the league. And, of course, this is nothing new for you. Billy likes to play those small ball lineups. You could play power forward at times. You're matched up with Kevin Love and Evan Mobley. You're thinking to yourself, man, I sat out for a month, and now I got to do this?
Yeah, man, I was honestly just really surprised or really proud of what my conditioning level was at. I really didn't feel too fatigued until maybe like the end of the third quarter rotation for me. But yeah, coming back first game back, playing small ball forward, that was something I was curious just to see where I was at. Glad I held up a little bit, but yeah, man, that front line for the Cavs is something different, man.
Yeah, when you watch that team last night, I mean, they're starting basically three 7-footers at those key positions, and it makes it very difficult to match up to them. And I thought you guys did a really good job of beating them to loose balls, getting the 50-50 balls, all the hustle things that maybe weren't going on during this losing streak. And I know you don't want to take sole credit for it, but you could tell your presence being back on the floor really uplifted your teammates. The energy level was there because they feed off of, I've said this all year long, they feed off of you and Lonzo Ball at the top of the circle with the way you guys defend. Did you feel that last night?
Yeah, for sure. I know that that's a special characteristic of me and my part of my game of what I bring to the team for basketball is I play with great energy. I play to win. I play to compete, and that I was always just trickled off onto teammates. Whatever team I've been on, and especially with this team, we have guys that are so willing to follow a lead to run with the same cause that sometimes they just need someone to push them to that point. And I thought Kobe and Io, their attention to detail last night on some of our game plan stuff was high level. It was really, really detailed, really, looking back at the film, they were really locked in. And, obviously, like you said, I'm not going to take full credit for it because they're out there doing what they do and playing the game at a high level. But, yeah, man, I know what I bring to the table, and some aspects of that is, intangible stuff with energy and some leadership stuff.
And Kobe and I are going to become even more important because of the news of the day. Lonzo Ball is going to have surgery for a torn meniscus in his left knee and might miss as much as 6 to 8 weeks. Those guys have obviously showed they can handle increased minutes. They've been starting while you guys have had a lot of guys out of the lineup. How is that going to affect roles? It seems like no matter what happens, this team has been resilient and able to find ways to win. Are you confident that can continue even with Zoe out for a while?
Yeah, definitely. That was something I did the media scrum after shoot around yesterday before the game as well. And, someone brought up a question about weathering the storm and holding on to first place and stuff. And I was just, that doesn't sit well with me. Like our mindset is go out and win games. I don't think we've had a whole team maybe besides, the first couple of weeks of the season. Vooch started it when he was in COVID protocols first, and then, everybody on the team kind of trickled in one by one, and then we've had guys out with injuries. So we really haven't been whole the whole year, and we've still gotten to this point. So I think for us, it's just about, fine tuning the habits that we're trying to create as a team, right? Things that are gonna help us propel in the playoffs, help us win games late in the season when we want to be playing. And, the guys that are out, they're just as involved. They're still in the group chat. They're still talking to everybody. But, we have so much talent on this team, as you can see. You got Io. I don't know what he's almost averaging a double-double for the last week. Kobe's rounding back into the form of being the dynamic scorer and playmaker that he's doing. Vooch is Vooch has averaged a double-double this whole year, and people are talking about he's having a down year, right? Like,
yeah.
I wish my down year would be a double-double. But yeah, I think we got enough. I think we got more than enough. Coaches put us in good position. It's just about going out there and doing the job.
Sound like Tibbs there. Yeah.
Next man up. You got to have that mentality. You got to have that mentality because
that's the league. Yeah.
Yeah, you come from you come from a championship organization with the Lakers. You won a championship. You had guys in and out of the lineup during that run, and guys stepped up, and then you guys had to play in the bubble, and that was an adjustment, and you made that adjustment as well.
Yeah, we talk about next man up. That's how a lot of careers in the NBA get formed. That was me on two-way in LA, right? Like I was behind Lonzo when he had a little bit of an injury in his knee there, and then Rondo hurt his hand, and all of a sudden I'm, backup point guard, and I'm playing minutes. Now I have a role in the league, a career. Now I'm signing a multi-year contract. Like, it's just stepping stones, right? Like, opportunity in the league is going to happen every year. Like, that's one of the things. That's one of the cliche sayings is like, your opportunity is going to come. The season's so long that eventually everyone's going to play, right? And that holds true this year. Just we're going through it, and whoever handles that the best usually comes out on top.
Alex, it's no secret back in the great free agent summer of 2010, LeBron James flirted with the Bulls. There was a couple of weeks where people thought he was coming to Chicago along with Dwayne Wade. That didn't work out. He went to Miami. They formed the Heatles down there, and he seemed to take that upon his shoulders since then to try to eliminate the Bulls at every turn. I mean, when he was at Miami and Cleveland, there were some playoff series where he knocked the Bulls out of the running. People are always so curious about LeBron. What was your relationship like with him? What kind of teammate is he?
Yeah, I mean, phenomenal teammate for starters. Just, he's so driven by winning and being great and trying to improve and be better that it really just kind of sets the tone for the team. I was lucky enough, that championship team, we had so many vets, right? So many guys in the league that were established, that had played on so many teams, Rondo, Dwight, JaVale, Danny. And then you got Bron at the head of that. Just kind of, his greatness pushed everybody, right? Like he's just one of the guys. He chops it up, cracks jokes. People make fun of him in the group chat as well. But then at the end of the day, his ability to lead by setting an example, right? First one in, last one out. The way he takes care of his body, the professional aspect of it, and then getting to the ultimate goal. Getting to the playoffs and having that mentality of like, yeah, like nobody's going to beat us, right? Like we all believe that. There's something that just rubbed off on us that I think, it's hard to do. It's hard to do in this league. This league has a lot of outside factors that influence guys as far as, why they play, what they're playing for, what their goals are. And to be able to have, best player in the world tell everybody, hey, like, come with me, this is what we're going to do, and then hold everybody to the high standard. It's a pretty special thing.
All right, give us a funny story about LeBron. Tell us something behind the scenes that the listeners can enjoy.
Man, I really think that people just misunderstand who he is, because like the media is media, right? Like they make their stories, they report what they want to report, but he really is just like a big ass kid, man. He's like, he's a 30, 37, 38, however old he is now, man. He's just a kid. He loves just like the environment of basketball, being on a team. He's a really goofy dude, cracks a lot of jokes. I don't know if I have one story in particular that stands out, but just day by day, the dude always walking around with his speaker playing music as loud as possible. He's really just a high school kid that's 37 playing in the NBA.
Now, we talk about, as young players coming into the league, some young players are fortunate to be on teams with good veterans, and some guys don't have the good veterans. They don't teach them how to the things that you need to learn, how to eat right, how to prepare right. You got into a situation with the Lakers where you had to fight your way onto the roster. Tell our listeners a little bit about, playing on a veteran team and what it was like for you personally coming into that team. Maybe not knowing what you know now, because I can tell playing on the Bulls team, you played on a veteran team by the way you talk to the younger players. So give our listeners a little bit of heads up what it was like playing with a veteran team and what you learned with that.
Yeah, I mean, for starters, just like how to be a pro, right? Like what it takes to be a professional, which means so much more than showing up and scoring 20 points and averaging 8 assists and playing whatever minutes. It's about making sure you watch film, making sure you get in for treatment, take care of your body, make sure you get your lifts in. So nobody makes you lift. Nobody makes you go in for treatment. These are things that you have to do on your own. Making sure that you're, things you said, your diet's right. Making sure that you're coming in before practice, after practice, getting your shots up. Just little things like that as a kid, coming from college to the G League to being on two-way, things that I didn't really know, that's what it took to stick in the league. I thought you just, you were good at basketball, and that's how you made it in the NBA. And I realized that that's how you get your door. That's how you get your foot in the door in the NBA. But the work and the professionalism is how you stick around. That's how you build a 10-year career. That's how you have opportunities outside of just getting to roll the ball out there. And then from a perspective, the mental side of it, just understanding how long the season really is. 82 games. You lose 4 games in a row every year. I mean, unless you're on an elite team, you lose at least 3 or 4 games in a row. I want to say the championship year in LA, we lost 3 in a row early in the season to we had a wicked weekend of where we played. I want to say it was maybe like Toronto, Milwaukee, and then the Clippers. And I want to say we lost all 3 games, and everybody was just, the house is burning down, everything's going bad. Like, can the Lakers win? They're not ready. And at the end of the year, we won the NBA championship. And there was no panic. There was no, there was no frenzy within the team, within the family, within the program of, what do we need to do to get better? Where are we right now? And how do we get there? And I think that's something that I've tried to take with me now and help guys like Kobe, help guys like Ayo, guys on the bench with me like Wu, even DJ, just keep in perspective of like, hey, like, we're halfway through the season. If we would say beginning of the year, hey, Bulls are going to be first in the East, 41 games into the year, I think we'd all take that. So let's see where we're at now. Let's see where we have to get to. And then from there, try to work towards that. And it's just something I try to harp on, try to have a day-by-day mentality, because if you look at it big picture too much at one time, then it gets overwhelming. And then you start to have, negative thoughts creep in when it's all really just, one day at a time, show up, play basketball.
Alex, when you came into the league, not a lot of the everyday NBA fans knew a whole lot about you, and you quickly became a fan favorite in Los Angeles. And now that you left, a lot of people are saying that one of the reasons why the Lakers are struggling is because they don't have Alex Caruso anymore. That's got to be gratifying for you to climb that mountain, so to speak, and have people really start to appreciate the full value of having Alex Caruso on the roster.
Yeah, I think the satisfying part is probably just understanding that I've created a niche in the league, right? Like, 3 years ago, nobody knew who I was, or 4 years ago, nobody knew who I was. I played good in summer league. Everyone's like, oh, it's a good story. And then they kind of forget about it or expect it to kind of go away. But for me, man, I've just, day by day, putting in the work, putting in the process of trying to get better, understanding how I can make this work and how I can have a career. And now I'm at the point to where it's like, there's things that I do that not a lot of people in the NBA can do. I think there's things in my game that there's only a select few people can bring to the game, can use intangible things to affect the game. And I'm only getting better at that. And then I'm trying to improve on the other things too. But yeah, the satisfaction of, fans thinking that I'm the key to success, really just, it's me patting myself on the back, saying that all this work's been worth it, that I'm on the right path.
We had Zach on last week and DeMar on the week before, and we asked him, he said, which player on this year's Bulls team completely surprised you that you didn't really know anything about? You saw them from afar, but really didn't know what kind of player they were until they got here on the team. And your name came up from both guys. They both said they have so much respect for you now as being a teammate for what you bring to the table. They said you're the smartest guy on the team. Your IQ, basketball IQ, which I know because I can see when you're out there, your basketball IQ is off the charts. And they were just surprised that, how smart you are with basketball. They said one day you either be in the front office or you'll be coaching on the sideline. That's how smart you are. And they really appreciate what you bring to the table.
Yeah, well, I hope one of them is going to give me the job. Then I hope that somewhere down the line they can hold the promise. Yeah, I mean, it kind of just goes back to what we were just talking about. I'm 10 toes in wherever I'm at, right? Like I'm just fully committed to whatever I'm doing, and sometimes you don't always get to see. You don't always get to see the value of it unless you're right there with me in the bunker going through the war, right? Like you don't get to see what. The mental toughness, the ability to show up and play after play and go after it and compete and win. That's something that, unfortunately nowadays in basketball is a skill, right? Like that's not something that's guaranteed with everybody playing the game. And, some of the things I do, again, I think are pretty special. And, me trying to be as humble as possible, that's not always something that people can see when they play against me. They think it's just one game and, maybe that guy had a good game or they didn't even look at the box score and saw I didn't have any, crazy stats pop out, but I'm in the game, I'm affecting the game. And I love the game of basketball. Like I'm a learner, I'm a curious mind. Anything I can do to get an advantage, I'm going to try and do because I want to win.
Alex, looking at your bio, I saw you were born in College Station, Texas. You ended up playing college basketball at Texas A&M. How special was that for you?
Yeah, that was really cool. In all honesty, that might have been, that might have been satisfactory for me. That might have been like the peak for me at that time. Like going to college, growing up, I was a ball boy on the team. Right? That's a well-known joke around A&M. That was used for 4 years and probably is still thrown around nowadays. That I was a ball boy in the team. Grew up going to games with my dad, and ended up playing there, and that was kind of the epitome of like what I wanted to do. Like I didn't have a favorite pro sports team. I was all in Texas A&M, football, basketball, baseball, soccer, track. Like I was drinking the Kool-Aid, as everyone likes to say. And then, from there, halfway through my college career, someone tells me, he's like, hey, you might have a chance to like play professionally if you like take it serious. And, that's kind of when I really started to like, more or less take basketball serious as far as putting work in and trying to get better. But yeah, Texas A&M, and that's home for me. It's a special place. I'm always gonna have that place near to my heart.
Did y'all ever beat the Sooners? I think we used to hand it to y'all for real.
Every time I played OU, I lost OU in college.
Honesty. Yeah. See, honesty. That's why I like AC.
I think we played them twice. We played them once when I was younger, and we weren't very good. So like it was like, yeah, we were gonna lose probably regardless. And then the last time we played them, my senior year in Sweet 16, that was the year they had Buddy.
Yeah.
And he was Player of the Year. They played well. I think we played well, but yeah, we didn't have all of our guys show up, and they had a pretty good team that year.
Yeah, Sooners, we put it on them.
I will say that was the only Big 12 game we lost that year. We played 5 Big 12 schools. We lost to OU in the Sweet 16. We beat Texas, we beat Baylor, beat K-State, beat Iowa State. So we don't consider those guys Big 12. They're the bottom of the Big 12. They're AC. We don't consider those guys. Okay, if you're not beating Kansas and Oklahoma, Texas, we're not really talking about that. Hey, tell us about free agency this year, because it's a known fact that you really wanted to stay in LA. You really liked LA. You liked the team. You really wanted to stay in LA. What made Chicago so appealing? And I know people say, "Oh, the money, offer more money." Forget all that, because you could have went to other places too. What made Chicago so appealing for you to say, hey, you know what? If it doesn't work out here in LA, I can see myself playing for the Bulls? Yeah, I mean, the writing on the wall for the Bulls being a good team was kind of there for me. I looked at all the parts. I knew Billy as a coach a little bit from when I was an Exhibit 10 in Oklahoma City, my first year in the G League. I went to training camp and was around him. So I knew how he coached a little bit. I knew he was a good player coach. He knew the game well. I talked to AK on the phone, and they both just kind of explained to me where, what they saw out of me as a player, what they thought I could bring to the team, and everything they said, I thought they hit the nail on the head. Like I was like, this is, me to a T. I think this is how I can affect the game. I think this is what I bring to a team. And then they signed Lonzo. They had Zach coming back. Vooch got in the trade. I had played against Kobe. I knew Kobe was a good player. I kind of knew that like they had enough pieces, if they threw a couple things in there, and then they signed Lonzo, and then I was like, I think we could be a pretty good team. So I did all this, of course, before they even signed DeMar. Like, then they threw DeMar on top of it. I was like, oh, we're gonna be really freaking good. But it was just, I think it was a good fit. Chicago, I mean, historically great sports town. I didn't have a single person. I know all the listeners will love this. I didn't have a single person that when I said, yeah, I was like, I think I'm going to go to Chicago. They're like, I love it. Like, best city I've ever been to. One of the best cities in the league. Like, everyone had something good to say about Chicago. So being in the city and stuff, I was looking forward to that. But basketball wise, I don't know. I kind of saw the pieces fitting, and I thought I could be one of them.
You mentioned DeMar having a career year at age 32. He has just been amazing, especially his work in the fourth quarter. If you can get everybody healthy, get everybody whole and back on the court, how good can this team be going into the playoffs?
I mean, we can be as good as we want to be. We can compete for a championship if we want to. We can win a first-round playoff series and go home if we want to. I think that's kind of up to us. I think everyone at the end of the day Of course, health, health isn't guaranteed. Health is something that we need because as a whole, we're a much more dangerous team than when we got a couple parts missing. But I mean, I've talked about this in interviews before and podcasts before. Like, I'm naive to the fact that, other teams have more all-stars or more all-NBA players or MVPs. Like, I think I can win any basketball game. Anytime the ball goes up in the air, I think if I have my shoes tied, my team's on the court, like, we got a chance. So, I mean, you take that for whatever it is. If we don't have, people have been talking about youth and not having experience in the playoffs. It's like, well, we got enough. We've got guys that have played in the playoffs. We've got guys that have played in the playoffs for a long time. Billy's coaching high-profile games. Maybe not deep in the playoffs in the NBA as much as maybe college, but the dude has pedigree of coaching in big-time games. We got smart minds on the bench. Like I said, obviously I'm beating the drum of my team, so I'm talking them up pretty well. But yeah, I mean, I'm confident that we can go as far as we want to go. If we put the work into being a good team and get better, because I mean, that is a thing that people don't realize in the NBA. Is like the best teams, they start out the year and they're like, okay, yeah, this is a good team, but then by the end of the year, they're a different team. Right? Like, they've improved on stuff. They've gotten their defense a little more fine-tuned. They got different coverages. They have different plays. They know the sets for their best players. There's different things that you can get better as a team that, I think if we do those things, we can be right there in the end of the game.
I think one of the things that I've been amazed at, because I'm around you guys all the time, is how well your chemistry is and how well it was from the start. Normally when you have an upheaval like the Bulls had the year before with almost an entirely new roster and guys coming from different places, it takes you a while, months to get the chemistry that you need to get going in the right direction. It started with you guys from like the first practice. You guys just seemed like you just melted. Preseason, I remember people saying when you were undefeated in the preseason, you guys won your first 6 or 7 games, counting the first 3. People were like, "Oh, they're not playing anybody." And Cleveland was one of the teams you played in preseason, and now we see how good they are. So actually, you were playing people, but the chemistry has been unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, it's probably more so, I think it's 50-50 credit to AK and Mark putting together a great team. Good group of guys. There's nobody on this team that, is holding the group back because they want individual achievement or they want some individual award. Like, we all get to our game within the group, which I think makes it really simple for us to just show up and play basketball together, because we all want to win. We all want to be there. But off the court, we just got good guys. That was one of the things I talked about before with our championship team in LA. It's like you just have so many good guys and you're all pulling in the same direction. Like, it's pretty easy to get along. Everyone has their own unique personality and way of going about business, but like, there's no judgment of what kind of music you like, where are you from, how you talk, anything like that. Like, everyone's just kind of like, all right, cool. That's Alex. That's who he is. That's Kobe. That's who he is. That's Vooch. That's who he is. That's Zach. That's who he is. And we just kind of go with it.
Before you were on the court for, I think, like the first couple of minutes in your return game last night against the Cavs, you took a hard foul right away, got knocked to the deck, where you're thinking, man, I worked so hard to get back, I'm going to take this kind of contact right away. I mean, was it kind of a jarring thing, or is it feeling like, all right, I can handle this, I'm back now?
Wait, which play are you talking about?
You were underneath the basket, you got knocked to the deck, and the cameras went in tight on you, and it looked like it's like, man, I'm taking this hard foul already.
I don't even remember the play, to be honest.
He's on the floor all the time, Mark. He's on the floor every play almost.
It's a normal occurrence. I got a cut on my lip. I got a little bit of bruise on my cheekbone from an elbow. I saw Zach this morning at the gym, and I was like, first game back, and he's like, yeah, well, wouldn't be you if there was something going on. I'm like, yeah, it's probably.
Yeah, we saw the blood underneath his lip. We knew he was back, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
If I don't have some type of nagging injury or bruise by the end of the game, I know I usually probably didn't play hard enough.
Crash Bandicoot, right?
Yeah, that's what I call it. That's what I call it, man. You're always on the floor. But you know what? I'm telling you, it's very infectious. I could tell last night, after watching the team go through that 4-game losing streak, you could just tell they didn't lose their confidence. They knew they could play better. They knew they needed to play better. But you could tell that there was an infusion of energy when they knew they were getting guys back. You were going to be back. Tyler Cook was coming back. That just infused. You could just tell from the start because every loose ball you guys got to. Every ball you guys were diving on the floor. You're in transition. You were getting dominated in the paint the first quarter, but then you came back in the second quarter and dominated the rest of the three quarters. So, you guys made adjustments against this big Cavalier team, which gives most teams problems.
And then the block. It was a great block.
Yeah, I mean that's just part of what you got to do, especially game in, game out. But especially against Cleveland, because I mean, if you don't show up with your hard hat and your lunch pail, they got 3 7-footers. They just rebound the ball every time and put it in the basket. That's just kind of what comes with the territory. We got to do the same thing tomorrow night with this dude they got up here in Milwaukee that is a freak, and I understand why the nickname stuck because this dude is an animal. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it really just comes down to competing and winning. Especially on the road. We got younger guys that are playing now that. Not a terrible amount of experience, maybe a year or two in the league. Playing on the road is always a much more difficult task than, playing at home. So I feel like them coming back home, me coming in with some energy, maybe some words here and there, it just probably helped them, settle down a little and just go out there and play rather than try to think and operate in some kind of way.
Yeah, you mentioned Giannis, and, at some point Billy's going to look down the bench and go, all right, AC, you got to shut him down. So you're whatever, right?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna need some help too, but I'll try my best.
Yeah, the one thing I like about you though, when you do go against these big guys and you're overmatched, I mean, I saw it last night with Kevin Love, is you play angles. You don't just get sealed. Like you're constantly trying topside, circle, and giving them different looks and using your quickness. Is that something that you really look forward to doing when you're going up against these big guys, getting them different looks?
Yeah, well, I don't know if I look forward to it, but it's necessary. Because if I don't, they're just going to put me in the basket. It's just trying to keep them uncomfortable, right? It's trying to keep them off balance, trying to give them a different look so that they're thinking about where I'm at, what I'm doing, rather than here comes the ball, what post move am I going into, stuff like that. And trying to just, take away airspace. People in the league are so comfortable all the time because people don't really get into them. They're just kind of there going through the motions. So, I don't know. I feel like that's to my advantage, even if it's like, saves 5% on field goal percentage. It's like, I'll take that 5%, so it's just about trying to keep them off balance and trying to keep them from, just putting me right in the basket.
Well, Alex, I'll tell you what, Bulls fans have really enjoyed watching you play. This team has been just so much fun to watch, currently tied with Miami for the best record in the Eastern Conference. Good health to you, continued success down the road, and we've got some hot sauce coming your way. Stacey's own special brand
of
hot sauce.
Hot sauce? Oh, baby, we got some coming to you.
I probably don't use it enough for where I'm from, but yes, I do. I use it a little bit.
Okay. We're going to send you a couple of bottles, man, for coming on the show. We really appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing, man. You are a fun player to watch. I enjoy calling your games.
Of course, guys. I appreciate you having me on.
That's our special guest, Alex Caruso. More to come on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Talk a little football coming up next.
If you like hot sauce and barbecue sauce, then you're listening to the right show. Gimme the Hot Sauce has the best small batch organic sauces to spice up your kitchen. Chicago-style red sauce with garlic twist. Our St. Pat's Verde green sauce with extra avocado and cilantro. And our King's Q, a bold, spicy, sweet sauce just like me. Woo! Use code Hot Sauce 21 to get 21% off your first order. That's Hot Sauce 21 for 21% off. Order today. As soon as I get done talking, go get you a bottle.
And gimmethehot.com.
And give me the hot sauce. Timmy whispers, gimmethehot.com.
And remember,
she'll like it too.
So, Whispers, how's the hot sauce doing? How's the hot sauce business?
It's booming.
It's booming.
It's booming.
Can't keep up with it. Who knew that people were so excited about hot sauce?
Because it's a great product.
It is.
It is. They
tastes
keep
good.
reordering too.
Personally endorsed by Stacey King.
Everybody I talk to loves it. They think it's awesome. Tastes great.
And on that Traeger.
The Traeger grill. Oh,
We've been seeing a lot of pictures of your cooking, Stace.
Yes, you know, I told you, America. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I lied last week.
Maybe we'll get invited over one day, Mark.
Yeah.
You're not getting invited, Tim. You're not getting invited because you didn't make ribs for me, and you know I begged you.
The to-go ribs.
You know, nothing. You gave me nothing. The guy tells me to come over his house, and he's not home. Hey, come over my house. We're barbecuing at 4:30. I get over there at 4
I asked
o'clock.
for your credit card number. I got nothing.
Well, America, I got my own Traeger grill. Traeger, if you're listening, you know we'll shout you out here and there for a couple
right.
of you know
Cook it right on the show.
Shameless plugs. We'll bring some food here off our Traeger grill.
So, where's Dawn this week?
Dawn is working at her studio. She's busy today. She couldn't make it. She was a little upset about it. And so she couldn't move around her clientele.
Yeah.
So she's working, and she's also working on her roundhouse kicks.
I was going to say, working on her martial arts.
Working on her martial arts because
thanks for the video.
I'm going to turn her loose on Timmy Whispers.
Did you see that, Mark? The video where she kicks my head off?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
That's very sweet.
It was very sweet. I just want to send
Stacy's
a
a master.
I just want to send you a message. This is going to happen to you, okay? It's going to happen to you.
I think you're
messing with me.
first.
You know what? No, she's not going to do it to me. Because she loves me, she's not gonna do it to me. Plus, I'll make her tap out. I'm going right for the chokehold.
Oh, those fast hands.
Yeah, hey America, I beat COVID. America, look at her hand speed. I'm not 100% America, but these hands are still deadly. This is slow motion, just in case you didn't see it. That's how I was slow.
So you're going to be in Dubai. So Stacy's got to just watch the UFC fights by himself this weekend.
Big
huh?
fights.
I know, but I'll be able to watch them, I guess, in the morning. Based on the timing. That's going to be a great fight.
Which one are you looking at?
Ngannou and Gain.
Right.
Oh, that's two heavyweights. Two of the best heavyweights in the world. They used to train together. Now there's bad blood.
There you go.
And they got some crazy backstories too, those guys.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be.
They're about the same size too.
Yeah, they're both
like
big.
6'3", 6'4", 245 or something.
Yeah. Ngannou's got the power though, like in the fight as soon as the bell rings. But this guy, Gane, is highly skilled. Like he's great with his feet. He's a really big time kickboxer. He's got
Muay Thai specialist.
Yeah, Muay Thai. He hits you from different angles. I used to think he was a boring fighter. Then he started picking it up a little bit. The way he did to Derek Lewis and knocked him out. I was pretty impressive. Derek Lewis is a tough guy to get knocked out.
Yeah, but then Lewis beat Ngannou.
Yeah, but that was a terrible fight though.
It was a boring fight.
It was a boring fight. It was almost like they were scared to hit each other, and it was a grab.
Well, they're both power hitters. So.
It was just a grab hold fight. I was like, I felt like that was a wasted money.
But did they ever find Overeem's head yet?
Yeah, you know what? It might be still underneath the ring because he almost got decapitated. And I kind of think that may happen this weekend because both these dudes are big time fighters. I could see Ngannou coming out just wailing away because he overwhelms you. Soon as he doesn't mess around, Mark. He's not one of these guys come out and fill you out in the first round. He comes out to seek and destroy. As soon as that bell goes, you ready? You ready? Let's get it on. And then he's running across the ring and he's hitting you in bunches and he just overwhelms people.
Yeah, my money's on him.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna bet on him too. Yeah.
So is this a pay-per-view event where all the King boys come over and you got to get the Traeger grill fired up?
Yeah, they don't want the Traeger grill. They said, we want
pizza,
Lou Malnati's,
yeah.
Heineken's. They don't get the cheap beer. America, my kid's not drinking the cheap beer. They're not drinking the cheap stuff. They're not drinking Keystone.
Right?
No Keystone for them this weekend. That's their beer choice is Keystone. But when they go to my house, they want Heineken's. They want the good stuff.
We'll take care of them.
Hey, listen, man, you got to start paying your own way over here, man. Listen, it's getting too expensive. These big kids be eating. Everybody's over 6'3".
Yeah,
they coming over the house. It's like a football team coming over there. You got to order like 3-4 pizzas for everybody, and then they bring their girlfriends.
Yeah.
They bring friends over. All of a sudden, man, a little party, a little get together of like 5 people turns out to be about 15 or 20.
Just get a food truck outside.
And now, but now, hey, listen. But now, no, they're not gonna be that many people. I cut them off this time because I'm like, hey, COVID protocol.
Well, you just send Kobe and Brixton to the
Listen,
door.
you know what?
You're not welcome here tonight.
Listen, you know what? Kobe is really changing on me right now.
Is that right?
Oh, I love that little sucker, but he's you know what? He used to be the little lovable guy.
Yeah.
Want to come up. Other dogs, he just want to play with him now. No. Kobe's done turned into
not
a
taking
beast.
anymore.
No, Kobe now is on attack mode. Like if he sees another dog, he wants to go after him. And I'm like, and he's just a little bit over a year. And I think it's because I'm gonna have to get him neutered. His testosterone level is too high, but I'm trying to hold off on it because I'm just putting myself in his situation, and I'm thinking to myself, man, would I want that to happen to me? Because no. You can't put peas on a dog's little testicle. So
you throw those on the Traeger though after you get them out.
Wow, Tim.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
That's nasty. Yeah. You know what? This is the same guy that said drink toilet water. Last week, 2 weeks ago, drink toilet water.
It'll boost your immunity.
Oh, boost your immunity. Yeah, this is, oh my God. Yeah, he's getting aggressive, Mark. And it worries me. It worries me because he's about 68 pounds and he's powerful. It's like a ball of muscle. And so I mean, literally, they both walk around the house like bodybuilders. Yeah. Like seriously, like they come downstairs. They almost took me out of the stairs the other day. I'm coming down the stairs and they hear the doorbell ring, and they don't even have any regard that I'm still recovering from COVID.
Yeah,
they clip me. They clipped me, Mark. Almost went down the stairs. Oh, Lord. Bunny fell down the steps. I was like, I'm holding on to the rails. I had socks on because, your socks are slippery on the staircase. So one of them clipped me, and I literally started to fall down the steps. And I'm like, I can't go out like this because my house is an older house. So it's like it was built like in 1920. So it's like those narrow staircases. Yeah. Oh, baby. If I fall down
grippers.
If I fall down them steps, boy, I'm a done deal. I might have to be riding on one of the little things that you put on your staircase. You sit on it and go all the way up.
It's time.
The king takes a ride up the stairs.
Yeah, man.
Hey, speaking of getting clipped, I know you saw this, that viral video of the reporter in West Virginia.
Oh, yeah, because I said it.
Report. Unbelievable. She gets hit, and the news anchor was just sitting comfortably behind the desk. Did you get hit high or low?
Did you see it, Tim?
No. What is this?
Okay, there's a newscaster in she was reporting in West Virginia about some kind of road damage or whatever. So she's out in the middle of the road.
Yeah, right in the side of the road.
Right in the middle of the road. And so an older lady came out and clipped her.
Yeah.
And so she's got a dual screen talking to the guy. Tim was his name, just like you. Tim was his name. Has your personality too. So Tim was in the studio.
Did you get clipped?
So then she gets clipped, and so she goes off screen. And he's like, "Hello,
yeah,
are you there?
Yeah,
that looked like it hurt. Are you okay?" So she goes, "Yeah, I'm okay, Tim." And you could tell that she was in
she's
shock.
Frantic, yeah.
So you could tell I guarantee if she wouldn't have been on camera, she would have cried.
No question.
I mean, you could tell. She started to well up a little bit, and the guy, I swear to God, had no compassion whatsoever. Like, oh my God, we need to get someone out there to help you. Stay still. I mean, nothing. Was like, hey, Diana, did you get a hit or high or low? Like he was talking about a Madden football game.
So she asked the person who hit her with the car, did I get hit high or low?
Yeah.
And so that's how concerned the news anchor was about it.
And he was just dry. He was just like, and the facial expressions, like his facial expressions when he was talking about it was just, I was like, this dude has no sympathy or empathy for this girl. She could have got killed.
It was just amazing. You'd be horrified if I'm watching that.
Yeah, Dave just gave to me here.
And see one of my coworkers get hit by a car. I mean, oh my God, are you okay? He just goes along with the newscast. Like, well, let's continue with the report now since you've picked yourself up after getting hit by a car.
And she goes, I got hit in college before too. I'm okay. And she's apologizing to the lady who hit her.
Did you catch her saying it's my last week on the job?
Yeah, it's my last week on the job. So
he's probably like, good riddance.
Yeah, hey, that might have been an assassination attempt. They're like, let's get rid of her. Let's say she didn't get any insurance. Let's get her. But it was, listen, America.
He kind of looks like a scary looking guy though too.
Dude,
he's a bit of a crypt keeper.
Let me tell you something, America. If you follow me on Twitter, it's on Twitter. Go to my page. You'll see it. It's Tim. The guy Tim was just
his lack of compassion was overwhelming.
That was embarrassing. They should have said something to him on the station because that girl could have got killed.
Yeah,
and no more compassion whatsoever. It's just like, oh well, Diana. Well, it looks like you're okay. Did you get hit high or low?
I'm guessing she's not going to have a farewell party.
No,
in her last week of the job.
It's like good riddance, Diana.
She'll get hit by a news vehicle walking out of the station.
They're like, okay, is she off the insurance? Okay, yes, Diana's off the insurance. Oh, Diana, we wish you well. Wow, that's terrible, Tim.
Well, we promised you a little football talk, and obviously we're down to the final 8 in the NFL playoffs. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Stacey, who do you like coming out of this weekend?
Oh, man. The Rams are playing Tampa Bay, am I right?
Yeah, and they beat them earlier in the year.
Yeah, I don't count that though, Mark.
All right.
I think
TB12?
I think TB12 and the juice that he drinks at halftime is going to prevail. I think they're going to win that game.
Packers at home against the 49ers. It's supposed to be
That's a tough
4
game.
degrees.
That's a
at
tough
Lambeau
game.
Field.
That's a tough game. I don't know, though. If Bosa's not playing for the 49ers, that's tough because he put so much pressure on the quarterbacks. He got a concussion last week against Dallas. And so now he's in the protocol. They said he's going to be ready to play. But you don't never know about that, having a concussion. I mean, half these guys probably play with concussions all the time anyway, and they get him out there too soon. So if he plays, they need the pressure on Rodgers.
Yeah.
But it's tough to go in there 4 degrees and play these guys who play with no sleeves on, and the weather doesn't bother them. It's tough. It's tough.
Short rest team hasn't won in 17 years. So,
right?
Yeah, with going right to a Saturday. Yeah. And but I think it's going to change.
You like the 49ers?
Yeah, because it's going to be a running game and Debo.
Yeah. That's been a weapon for them because the Packers beat the 49ers earlier in the year, but they didn't use Debo Samuel as a running back in that game.
And you look at the cold short passing game to Kittles and Debo.
And people think that, that's new. I mean, Cordell Patterson was playing that role for the longest, and now it's made famous by Samuels, is that, this just came along. The Packers had a Montgomery or some.
Ty Montgomery
was in that role for them. Yeah. So it's not out of this is not new. Teams have been doing it for a long time, but Samuels is just getting a lot of play from it because he's a home run hitter for them.
Sticking with the NFC, the Cowboys got drummed out.
Oh, man, goddamn. Oh, man.
Now, there was talk that maybe Mike McCarthy would lose his job, but he did a news conference today, and obviously he was told by the Jones family that he was going to be kept on the job. But that last play of the game where Dak tried to run and slide and then spiked the ball, they didn't get another playoff. And people are blaming McCarthy for the call. They're blaming Dak for poor execution, and no one seems to be happy down in Dallas.
Listen, America. Dallas deserved to lose that game. They should never even came down to that play. You got a home game in your stadium against a team who's been up and down all year. Yeah, they won a couple of games. They beat the Rams at the end of the year. But that was a team that should not have beaten you, okay? The one thing I say about Dak Prescott is that, it's almost like he's afraid to run. Like there was plays in that game that he could have made with his legs that would extended plays that would have got them first downs, that would help them score touchdowns. He would rather throw an interception or go 3 and out than take off and run when he has that opportunity.
Well, he finally ran.
Yeah, at the end of the game, when the game was almost over, he decided. But if you watch that game for the first 3 quarters, he would not run. He would just try to force passes in the guys, and he does it, in my opinion, personal opinion, just watching him play. He locks in on receivers. He doesn't look one way and then come back and find someone else like Aaron Rodgers does or Tom Brady does. He just locks in on one guy like he was in college, and their running game is non-existent. So I mean, how do you win games if you don't have a running game and your quarterback doesn't decide to run when he needs to run?
And Mike McCarthy said today that he thought you could tell that his team was nervous during the pregame prayer, that caused our slow start.
Listen, man, how many games you played during the season?
Yeah.
It's another game. It's a playoff game. Okay, you're at home. You get to stay tonight in your city. You're not on the road playing in San Francisco. You've been hyped. Everybody's been considering you a Super Bowl favorite to come out of the NFC and to challenge the Packers or Tampa Bay. You have an opportunity. Your defense has been solid all year long. Your offense has been up and down and inconsistent. And in my opinion, they just choke. I mean, they've choked.
Penalties.
When was the last time they got out of the first round?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Is that 14 accepted, but 17 penalties?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's nuts.
Dak Prescott fined today $25,000 for criticizing the officials. Actually, he was asked about people throwing stuff at the Cowboys players, as they were leaving the field after that loss to the 49ers. And then when he was told that maybe they were throwing it at the officials, he said, well, that's good then. So they fined him $25,000.
No, we were throwing it at him. I was right there in the crowd, America. I had a Jimmy Durante face on. You couldn't see me. But I was right there. I have to admit this. America. Yeah, I was one of those people at Texas Stadium at Jerry's World throwing ice and hot dogs. And I was so disgusted because, I'm a closet Cowboy fan because growing up in Oklahoma, America, you might not have known this, but I was a Cowboy fan growing up. And I jumped, since they sucked, I've jumped off the bandwagon and put all my Cowboy gears up, and I shifted to the Bears. Well, it hasn't been any better here in Chicago, so now I've gone back to the Cowboys. And I was there throwing things. It's bad. I should not be admitting this. I should not be admitting this, America. But I was right there with the fans of America's team, and I was throwing whatever they gave me. Hot dogs, hamburgers, ice, cups, that didn't matter.
Dude wipes, whatever.
Dude wipes, it didn't matter. They sucked.
Astronaut diapers.
Yeah, astronaut diapers.
Clean up.
Bottles of hot sauce. That's how they found out it was me, America. They picked up a bottle of hot sauce, and they said, was Stacey King here? Oh, yeah, okay. So I might not have gotten away with it, America. I'm being honest.
Wow, this show is going completely off the rails.
It's going off the rails, man.
It's about time it did again.
Well, we got to get you predictions in for the AFC. We got Tennessee against the Bengals.
Tennessee may get upset, man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Joe Burrow?
I can see Joe Burrow walking in there, depending on the weather and if Derrick Henry plays. But I can honestly see Cincinnati going their bombs away on them because they look really good. Even towards the end of the season, that Jamar Chase is a stud. And when you sling the ball around, Joe Burrow is the real deal. Joe Burrow spreads that ball around. He's not afraid to go take deep shots. He doesn't care if he gets interception. He's going for it. So I would not be surprised. America, I'm calling it first. I think Cincinnati is going to go into to Tennessee and win that game.
And what might be the best game of the weekend, the Buffalo Bills going to Kansas City to play the Chiefs.
Tough game for Kansas City. Kansas City has not been playing particularly well. The thing they got going for them is home field advantage. Mm-hmm. That crowd in Kansas City is unbelievable.
Quarterback's pretty good, too.
The quarterback is good, too. But you know what? He's been inconsistent. He's been very inconsistent this year. They haven't been able to go deep like they wanted to. Teams have been playing two deep safeties and making him play underneath. And he doesn't like to play. He's a gunslinger. He wants to go deep. So therefore his interceptions are up. The productivity going deep is down. But I tell you what, Buffalo's no joke. Buffalo's got a great defense, and that quarterback threw 5 touchdowns this last playoff game.
Yeah.
I tell you what,
he's not afraid to run.
No, he's not afraid to run. He will put it down. He's a big quarterback. I mean, he's like Ben Roethlisberger, a young Ben Roethlisberger, but I just think it's fearless. He's fearless, and so I could see. I don't think it's going to happen, Mark, but I could see Buffalo. I would not be shocked if Buffalo won that game.
So, Stacey, did you drive yourself today to the Hustle and Flow Studios?
No, I didn't. You know what? When I come to the Hustle and Flow Studios, America, I always use Windy City.
Yeah, all right.
And Windy City provides championship service. Making a reservation is so easy, it's a slam dunk. Let Windy City break the full court pressure of traffic and get you to your destination in style and on time. Contact us at 866-94-WINDY. Again, that's 866-94-WINDY.
Can you set me up tomorrow?
Yeah, you got to get a ride to the airport.
Okay, first of all, I was not done reading. Don't ever interrupt me again, or it's a throat punch coming. Okay,
sorry, boss.
Okay,
my bad.
Okay. So yeah, he's gonna get shot. So America, I was really interrupted by Timmy Whispers. I was really interrupted by Timmy Whispers as he's trying to be selfish and worry about his ride to going over to Dubai. I don't want to hear all that. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying. Contact us at 866-94-WINDY. And remember, she'll like it too. Shout out to Frank Thomas. I stole that from Frank Thomas, the Big Hurt. Big Hurt, I love you, boy, but you sound creepy when you say it. I love my boy Frank. But when you ever see Frank do that commercial?
Oh yeah.
Frank's out there, and the girl's there with the husband.
He's got the wink.
Yeah, he's got the wink, and he's got that look on his face like, I want to eat you. He's like, so he'll say, hey, Bob, make sure you get this. Make sure you get Nugenics, yada yada. And she'll like it too. And then the girl like looking like she wants to run.
Well, how about the latest one where they have him and Doug Flutie at the driving range? hitting shots.
Yes.
And they got the African American guys asking about the advice, And so then all of a sudden there's 2 women behind the guy.
Yes.
It's
yes.
like, what is the second woman doing?
Yeah, who is she there with? Like, what does this mean? What is it?
Threesome action?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Menage a trois, I don't know. I mean, America, I'm just going by what we see on the commercial. We didn't make this commercial up. This is what we see when we watch the Nugenics commercial. And shout out to my boy, Frank Thomas. That's my boy, Frank. Okay?
Nugenics and some Flutie Flakes.
Nugenics, Nugenics, Fruity Flakes and Nugenics.
Flutie Flakes.
Is it Flutie Flakes?
Flutie Flakes. Come on.
Seashore, by the seashore. It's Flutie Flakes.
Flutie Flakes. As in Doug Flutie.
Hey, America, get you some Flutie Flakes and some Nugenics, and remember, she'll like it too.
So in that commercial, he says, and she'll like it too, and the girl behind her too.
Yeah. Hey, well, how about just say they'll like it?
There you go.
Because you're saying plural. But I ain't gonna lie though. Frank's my boy, man. I love that commercial because that's where I stole that tagline from. So I always say it all the time. She'll like it too.
Yeah, and if we ever get the baseball season going, we'll have to get Frank on the show.
Yes, Frank. Wait a minute. Frank has promised me many times he's gonna come on the show. Okay, and so I'm still waiting, Frank. You out there?
You got his hat on tonight.
Frank, don't have me come to the house and knock on the door. Okay, like the UPS man. Okay, come on, Big Frank, Big Hurt. Come on, baby, Hall of Famer, baby. We need you, and we want you to talk Nugenics out here, boy. Yeah, because we shameless plug on this show. Nugenics, if you're listening. I like it too.
Yeah, I did see a news item today that the Players Association is supposed to make a counter offer to the owners. So hopefully get that thing going. Get spring training going because Stacey's a big baseball fan. We want to see him.
How about my man Carlos Correa? He just signed. Signed Boris as an agent.
Yeah.
He's trying to get. He's going to get paid.
So if the Cubs want to get on
friend of the program,
that,
America, Carlos Correa.
That's right. Hey, before we get out of here, we want to pay a special tribute to our guy, Les Grobstein, who passed away over the weekend. I'll tell you what, I've been working in Chicago sports for over 30 years, and every important event that you ever want to imagine, Les Grobstein has been there front and center. The guy flew all over the country to make sure he would bring the best reports to Chicago sports fans, and he's going to be missed. He did that overnight shift at the Score, and he had that loyal following, and it's just a huge loss to the Chicago media community to lose Les Grobstein.
It just broke my heart because Les is a good friend. I've known Les since I came here to Chicago, and I've never met a person in this business, because in this business you meet a lot of flaky people, people who are not genuine, and he's one of the most genuine and nicest people that I've ever met. Always had something nice to say to you. Always wanted to ask how the family was doing, how your kids doing. You could ask him anything. It was an encyclopedia. He knew everything about Chicago sports. Arguably the most informed person I've ever met when it came to Chicago sports.
Right.
Sam Smith knows a lot about basketball. He's the NBA
Bulls historian. Yeah.
But I mean, the Grobber knew everything. Grobber knew hockey, baseball, football, college football, basketball. I mean, he knew everything, and it's a tremendous loss. Iconic figure here in Chicago, man. It just breaks my heart. My condolences go out to his family and all the friends who knew him. Sad day in Chicago, and man, we're gonna miss him.
Les Grobstein, you will be missed, no question about that. Hey, we want to thank Alex Caruso for being our special guest today on Gimme the Hot Sauce. Want to thank our sound engineer, Dave, for coming in to help us out, running the board, making sure we got all the sound effects and everything
Came
else
out the
well.
bullpen like Mariano Rivera, throwing nothing but heat.
And we wish
He only had
Whispers,
two pitches. He only had two pitches. He only had a fastball and a cutter. That's it.
a cutter, yeah. You did a great job.
You did a great
we
job,
appreciate you
Dave.
coming in.
I don't care what Whispers said about
you. Whispers, safe travels to Dubai.
Thank you. I'm still hoping I can get a ride there, but to the airport.
Listen,
Stacey knows some people, so maybe
That's what I heard, but he probably won't help me out.
Okay, listen, buddy. First of all, my connection with Windy City is my connection. I'm sorry. They're my people. My people. Now, if you want my people to call your people, then we can do that.
Let's try that out.
Wait a minute. Maybe if you would have thought about getting me those ribs a lot earlier than now.
Here we go again.
You need me. Now you need me. See, America, now he needs me. He didn't want to give me ribs.
He's forgetting about the core issue. He wouldn't have a Traeger today if it wasn't for me.
I doubt that. But I would have to disagree with you because some people I know have it now.
Yeah, starting with me.
Okay, you had it first, but Sean Hickenbottom has one. There's a couple of guys have one. Then they told me about it. So you're not telling them. My barber has one. Shout out to Razor Red. Razor Red, if you're out there, I just want to send a shout out to my barber on Taylor Street, Razor Red. You see the goatee, America? America, look at the goatee. Ooh, I got that Albert Pujols goatee that's like on time. He cuts my hair every once a week. I don't have a lot of hair to cut, but what he does cut, he makes me look fresh on TV. And you know what?
She like it too.
No, not she. Don't try to get me in trouble, man. Baby, you trying to bring up a happy home. Don, if you're listening, don't listen to Timmy Whispers. Don likes it too. Yeah, you trying to get, man, what you doing, boy? You trying to get me in trouble? Bringing up a happy home?
Well, this conversation is going to be going on for a long time as the podcast comes to a close. 31 years of abuse, and it's still going
ready
strong.
To move some furniture, America.
Dave, get us out of here. You got the intro music?
Yeah, Dave.
We wish Timmy Whispers safe drive to the airport. And Stacey, you got some advice for everybody else as well, right?
Drive home safely, Chicago. Beep, beep. Tim, I'm sending you up.
Give me the hot sauce. What are you doing, Dragons? Did you not